NBS Fitness seminar on program design, and it's free, unlike some other people across the street. Anyways, I want to start off and kind of ask a question just to see how many people actually program their training out. Like how many people write it out, record it, analyze it, and develop it, so on and so forth. Does anyone? No one writes it out at all or records it? Does anyone see like a major flaw in that?
Wait a minute, you shot your hand raised. You write yours out, don't you still?
Yeah.
No.
I used to.
That is the single biggest mistake I see that everyone makes across the board. Not even, and that's beginners to advanced and so on and so forth. Is that print out 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 3, 5. That's the biggest mistake I see that across the board that everyone makes. So that's the purpose of the seminar, to give you an idea of how to design a program for yourself. And it's not me telling you exactly how to do it. It's me just giving you ideas so you can think about it and go from there. But first of all, we see that we've got 2 pyramids here. All right. And what these represent is basically the amount of work needed to achieve different levels of fitness. Basically, I categorize it as health, fit, and elite. To get health benefits, which anyone will achieve, it's like you don't have to do jack shit. You can go walk 2 miles a day, lift a few weights here and there, do some punches, and you'll get health benefits. You'll improve your cholesterol, improve your heart rate, all that kind of stuff. But to move up, you have to increase the amount of all these other training variables and all kinds of stuff. All right, to get into that kind of fit category. And I categorize this as people, train 3 or 4 days a week. They lift weights, they run, they do cardio stuff. They're fit individuals much more so than the general population, and even more so than the regular gym goer. And then finally, to reach elite status, which is what I consider competitive athletes, whether it be powerlifters or bodybuilders or strongmen, or even just regular athletes, or just people who are strong as shit. You just have to continue to expand. So understanding that, if this is your goal, you don't have to do a whole lot. You might not have to program that intensely. If this is your goal, well, you might have to put some bit of programming and thought into the process, but generally speaking, just work out hard and you'll probably get there. But if eventually you want to get up to this level, you're going to have to take all this stuff into consideration. And what I find is most of the people in this gym are like right here, trying to figure out how y'all can make that jump, right? Okay, so that's what the purpose of this seminar is. All right, so when we get going, first things first, I want to kind of help you understand a few principles of training, just kind of like some underlying factors that you must know in order to then be able to make good, knowledgeable decisions in your training program. So the first principle I'm going to talk about, I'm actually going to skip over to that overload one, go to the principle of adaptation. There's 2 primary purposes of all organisms on this planet: survival and reproduction. Okay? We're not going to be talking about reproduction. So we talk about survival.
Hey, bro.
Maybe Jim wants to talk about that. But anyways, we talk about survival. Biological systems within your body adapt to whatever stimulus is placed upon it so that you can survive. Okay? That's why if Chad does a bicep curl, he gets stronger. That is a stress, a stimulus on the body. Okay? There's either good stress or bad stress. All right? Good stress causes a positive change. Bad stress causes a negative change. That makes sense? All right? And whatever the stresses are, your body's going to adapt to then be able to survive them when they occur in the future. If you look at this little diagram right here, that's basically called the principle of supercompensation. Basically what it means is, here's your fitness level. Okay? That's what your current fitness level is. That's strength, endurance, everything, all the same. We create a stimulus. Bam! Right there. What's the initial reaction to a stimulus? it is fatigue. So you drop down. Just think about like when you bench press, right? I say put 225 on the bar and do as many times as you can. What happens? You get tired. You fatigue. Can you do 225 for the same amount of reps the next day? No, you're doing this fatigue state. Okay? Your body compensates for that by bringing yourself back up to original level and then super compensating. Did you hear me? All right, now that's your new fitness level. If you don't do anything about that, what happens? You drop back down. All right? But if you create another stimulus, bam, the same thing happens. And that way we continue to raise our fitness level across the board. So your body adapts to whatever stimulus placed on it. Now, this stimulus, all right, is going to, with adaptation, is going to be a direct response to the stimulus. So you create a little stimulus, you have a little adaptation. You create a great stimulus, you have a great adaptation. But, if we turn to this next page, you're already allowed so much adaptation energy. Meaning you can't just come in here and do 100 sets of 500 of bench press in this bit. Well, if I just create this huge stimulus, I'm just going to get really, really bad. Honestly, what would happen? What's up?
What's the time frame on the stimulus? Like, we're obviously not doing the exact same workout every day.
It depends. Again, like the stimulus is different. The adaptation is going to be different. So if I said do push-ups or something, you might only be like here and you come right back up. But if I said max out, you might stay down here for. Olympic weightlifters usually take 2 to 3 weeks to recover from a competition. And they only do 6 lifts, 6 attempts. It takes them 2 weeks to recover from that. So it just depends on a whole bunch of factors: stress, the magnitude of the stimulus, a whole bunch of other stuff. But just kind of understand. Usually, the general rule of thumb is, it takes, if you really kind of break down the muscle good, it can take between 48 and 72 hours. If it's not like a whole lot of stimulus, like push-ups or running or jumping jacks, even less than even 24 hours sometimes. You pretty much do. You can look at the Army people or military. They push ups all day long and they get better at it. So the period of time is not that great. So anyways, we don't get so much adaptation energy. This is what I'm talking about, the magnitude of stimulus, or like the intensity of the stimulus. So most people sit there and say, well, if I just train my ass off, just keep beating the shit out of myself, I'll just get really awesome, right? Well, you only get so much adaptation energy. But this, in this diagram, we use a circle, okay? And every stress or every stimulus your body faces in life is going to take up a little pie, a little section of this circle, right? So let's say you do a really heavy squat workout, right there, right? Or you do really heavy squats, right? Got squats. Then right here you do some good mornings. Then right here you do some abs. And you push the prowler, you do hardcore. And you really just tax yourself to shit, and your girlfriend breaks up with you. Alright? That's gonna be a big fucking amount of energy, right? But you don't have any of that, so what happens? You overtrain. That makes sense? Okay? So, you gotta be kind of careful with how much stimulus you're placing upon your body, and understand that your body adapts to everything, but only to a certain degree. Okay? Anyways, the rest of these just kind of show, like, here's your total adaptation energy, here's some guy doing a crap load of stuff, here's some guy not doing enough, and basically right here, we understand that there's certain exercises that bring up bench press, certain exercises that bring up deadlift, certain exercises that bring up squat, and then we also need some type of cardiovascular work in there as well. And we use up all our adaptation energy, but it's just the right amount. So anyways, just so you kind of understand that your body's going to adapt to the stimulus, okay? Adaptation can be direct to to the magnitude of the stimulus. And the stimulus does not need to be too great or too less. Okay? It needs to be just the right amount. You can see that right here. What happens if the stimulus is too great, the fatigue is too great, you can't recover in time, or the stimulus is not enough, the compensation, the super compensation is not to the degree that we'd like to see it. So there's an adequate amount of stimulus, and that's what you got to figure out. Okay, and there's not any hardcore set in stone way of saying this is exactly what you need, but we'll get to that later. All right, so principle of overload. All right, that just means to say to continue to cause greater and greater supercompensation, you have to cause greater and greater stimulus. All right, so again, we take that same fitness level right here, and let's just say we're taking a bench press, going like that, and you're a 225 bench press, right? Boom. We call it, all right? We call it the stimulus. Supercompensation. Now you're a 245 bench presser. Stimulus, down, supercompensation. Boom. And a 265 bench presser. So on and so forth. All right? And your fitness levels are rising continually. If you just bench press 225 all the time, do you get any stronger? No. So you have to constantly overload the systems, overload the muscles. Right? You have to greater and greater stimulus as you go. Okay, so on the next principle. Principle of specificity. This is very simple. The organism will adapt specifically to the stimulus placed upon it. In other words, if you train to be good at bench press, you'll be good at bench press. If you train to be good at running long distance, you'll be get better at running long distance. There's a specific adaptation to the stimulus. All right. Now that we understand that, there's also what we call general adaptation. All right. General adaptation is kind of overall bring up of different fitness levels. So, training the squat will make you stronger at squat. It will also make you stronger overall. Running a mile will make you better at running a mile. It will also bring up your cardiovascular endurance. So running a mile and getting that good at that will also allow you to get better, let's say, pushing the prowler for a little bit. Squatting, bring your strength levels up, will also allow you to get better at pushing the prowler. There's kind of a general base of fitness characteristics that we can raise up. And that little diagram I have there, I call that the athletic pyramid of development. Basically what it shows is, at the bottom, you have your genetics, which is the ground. Okay, you can't change where you make the pyramid, not in this case. All right, genetics is just what you got. Then the stair step up, the base of the pyramid. This, in instance, is your GPP, your general physical preparation, general physical characteristics. This is your strength levels. And here I go strength, max strength, strength speed, isometric strength, different energy system conditioning. Are you good in the ATP energy system, the glycolytic, oxidative? What's your mobility and flexibility? What's your coordination? Not just hand-eye, but intramuscular and intramuscular. All right? These are your general physical characteristics. 5 minutes? All right. So, we understand that the size of the pyramid, I don't know if anyone took trigonometry, but the size of the pyramid, all right, is going to be determined by the base of the pyramid. Okay? The bigger your base, the bigger you can make the pyramid. Then the next thing you build upon your GPP is your special preparatory work, or specific stuff. All right, so if you're a baseball player, this is hitting a curve ball, catching a grounder, catching a fly ball. If you're a powerlifter, it's squat, bench, deadlift. If you're a strong man, it's a crap load more. Okay? If you're a bodybuilder, well, basic flexing. Okay? And so we understand that you know, we can't make this big and this is big. So the stimulus that we place upon it is going to cause a specific adaptation or a general and a general adaptation. So understand that. And finally you have your mental part at the top. So any stimulus you place upon yourself, you gotta be sitting there asking yourself, is this specific or is it general? and what am I trying to, what is my goal? Alright, I need to be building this up, and I need to be building this up. There are certain times in your training career which will probably be building up specific ones at different times. Okay? Alright, finally, the principle of reversibility. If you don't use it, you lose it. Alright, just like I showed that in that supercompensation theory, is if you don't give it another stimulus, it comes back down. And in beginner trainees, in 2 weeks of detraining, or in 2 weeks of not training, detraining will occur, you can actually lose up to like 25% of max strength, endurance, all that stuff. So somebody's just starting training, and you have them go and lift really hard for a couple months, and they stop for 2 weeks, they'll get weak as shit immediately. So again, if you don't use it, you lose it. And that goes for all different components, all right? So if you don't train your cardiovascular stuff, you get worse at that. Don't train your strength stuff, you can get worse at that. Don't work on your flexibility, mobility, you get worse at that, okay? So there comes the trick to programming is how do we raise up what we need to raise up without losing what we don't want to lose. Finally, is the principle of individualization. Every organism will have a different response to the same stimulus. We're all different. There's a bunch of different factors that take place. Genetics, maturity, nutrition, fire training, what the environment is, their sleep, their rest, their stress levels, their illness, their injury, and motivation. I'll throw in their steroids as well. Everything, every person is going to respond differently to the same stress. It might not be that great of a different response, but it's going to be a different response to a degree. Which is why me and Chad in the exact same program, I might be awesome and he might not get shit out of it. Or vice versa, he might get a lot out of it and I might not get crap out of it. All right? We both have different individual characteristics. So,